Good afternoon. I'm addressing you today to provide an update on the ever-changing status of the COVID-19 virus situation, also known as the coronavirus. I would like to talk to you today about the preventive measures that are being taken in our community to help in holding down the spread of this virus. I also want to assure you that in the city of Anderson that we are continuing to take steps to contain the spread of this virus. The number one priority of our city government is to ensure the public safety and welfare of our community. It is important that we individually remain calm, but at the same time that we take this serious. We are cautiously optimistic that at this time there have been no reported cases of positives from test results of COVID-19 in Anderson or Madison County. However, we are also mindful that this data is most likely affected by the limited number of testing and the availability of tests up to this point in time. As a result of recent federal action, there have been steps taken to ensure that more tests become available in order to allow for more testing in the various communities and to help our health care professionals in making diagnosis. Therefore, it is reasonably anticipated that we will see some positive cases in our community in the future. We welcome this opportunity to have more accurate data that will allow us to be more proactive in the prevention of the spread of this virus and will give to us the opportunity for those who have been affected to obtain specific treatment as they move through the cycles of the virus. It is vitally important that we each take personal responsibility, that we all use our common sense, and that we follow the guidelines that have been provided to us by our local authorities, the healthcare professionals at all the federal, state, and local level. Remember that as a member of our society, living together, in our respective communities, we owe it to each other to be responsible and to, again, take the matter seriously. If we take the reasonable steps that have been provided to us, we will be protecting the most vulnerable among us, and we will be assisting our healthcare providers to be more effective when they are presented with a COVID-19 case. We cannot allow our healthcare professionals to become overwhelmed, and we must assist them by taking the recommended precautions that will ultimately serve each of us. At the present time, the best source for information regarding control and prevention comes from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, and our Indiana Department of Health and the Madison County Department of Health. The Madison County Department of Health is presently overseeing the local task force on COVID-19 and is comprised of public health safety officials, also business officials, as well as community leaders and city officials. City officials from the Anderson Police Department and Fire Department are involved as well, and we are fortunate to have all these departments and individuals working together in a collaborative way to assist our community. I appreciate the leadership of the Health Department Administrator, Stephanie Grimes, and the teamwork being demonstrated by everyone involved. I also want to thank our first responder team, Fire Chief Dave Cravens, EMS Chief Todd Cawthorn, and Mark Keck, our Health and Safety Chief, together with Anderson Police Chief Jake Brown and Deputy Chief Mike Lee. By working together, we are able to hold down confusion while providing valuable information and assisting in community preparedness, communications, information management, and resource management. Each of these agencies have made it clear that the community-based interventions that we're going to be discussing can help slow the spread of COVID-19. Therefore, I want to reiterate by encouraging these preventive measures that are being embraced by these agencies and our state and local governments. We must continue to limit person-to-person contact. Person-to-person contact should be limited to necessary interactions. In terms of larger events, all event venues in Anderson that are hosting events with 50 or more people in attendance shall be closed pursuant to the governor's order and CDC directives. I want to commend those in our community who have already taken steps in this regard. Our schools, many of our churches, hospitals, nursing facilities, and most recently our local casino has taken appropriate steps that will protect all of us. I want to remind everyone that this social distancing does not mean that you should not communicate with others or that you should lock yourself in your house. Certainly check in on friends and family, remain in communication with them, especially those that are most vulnerable, including the elderly and our sick. Using means of telephone calls, text, emails, FaceTime, Facebook messaging, and other social media tools should be used whenever possible. Going outside into the parks or other venues where there are limited numbers of people is appropriate. When you see friends at these locations, do not hug or exchange handshakes, but stay a reasonable distance away while speaking. By all means, do not go around others if you have flu-like symptoms, and do not let them come around you if they have similar symptoms as well. Again, use your common sense. As has been discussed by others, make sure that you wash your hands frequently using warm water and soap. Wash your hands for at least 20 seconds, especially after you've been in a public place or around other persons, or if you've blown your nose or you've coughed or you sneezed. Make sure that you discard any tissues and make sure again that you wash your hands. Do everything you can to try to keep people from being affected. Also, if you don't have warm water or soap available, make sure that you use a hand sanitizer using at least 60% alcohol, covering all the surfaces on your hands until it dries. And of course, make sure that you stay home if you are sick, unless you're going out to get medical care. If you're sick, go to the doctor, but call in advance and make sure that that they know you're coming and let them know of your symptoms. And of course, in the end, make sure that you do follow their advice. As we move forward, we will continue to work with this task force, and we will continue to monitor all the news and the reports provided by the agencies discussed. We will take all appropriate actions as needed as circumstance warrant. In other words, this is a fluid situation, and we will continue to stay on top of it. From the data standpoint, we believe that this situation will get worse before it gets better. However, again, we say this with a degree of optimism, as we believe as long as we follow the guidelines, we will ultimately be successful in overcoming this outbreak. In addition to the city government ensuring for the public safety and welfare of our community, we also, of course, provide daily essential city services to the public. We will continue to do so with these efforts during this period of time, and we will do so in a way that protects the health of our city employees and the public. The city stands ready to respond to any emergencies. We will continue to have first-rate public and fire response. We will continue to be able to supply clean drinking water and electric power to our community. At this time, the City of Anderson, City Hall, and its 21 departments will remain open. But I encourage the public to refrain from visiting or doing business in City Hall or other city facilities unless it is absolutely necessary. This is especially true for those who are most vulnerable, again, those over 60 years of age or those who have underlying health issues such as cardiovascular disease, diabetes, or chronic respiratory disease. If you're this person, stay home. If you need help, give us a call. If you are experiencing flu-like symptoms, respiratory illness, or if you have fever, we ask that you do not come personally to City Hall, the fire department, or the police department, or any other city department or facilities, except, again, in the case of an extreme emergency. The public is asked to contact the city by phone or by email, and our staff will help you conduct business online in that fashion. We encourage you to transact as much business as you possibly can online using those resources. We also encourage you to sign up for our email blast from the city website at www.cityofanderson.com. The city is currently preparing a contingency staffing plan that will include flexible schedule for our employees and temporary changes and exceptions to leave policies in order to allow employees to take care of themselves or family members if such action should become necessary. I am also asking our department heads to review their departments to make recommendations to us regarding employee positions that could work from home in order to limit their exposure. The following additional actions are also being implemented as precautionary measures and in response to recommendations by the CDC and state and federal government. The city will significantly reduce large in-person meetings, including boards and commissions, special events, and other large internal meetings effective immediately. Non-essential meetings will be limited to 10 persons or less and should meet virtually whenever possible. High-risk individuals should not be in attendance at these meetings, and individuals exhibiting flu-like symptoms, fever, or respiratory illness should never be in these meetings. The city will also be suspending immediately the use of Anderson City facilities and the Anderson Park Department facilities for non-government use or non-statutory uses. It is recommended that city boards and commission meetings be limited when possible, and that meeting numbers will be reduced to as required by law, with the exceptions as meeting as needed for critical services. Public meetings will remain open to the public, but again, we ask that if you attend, that you take note of the precautions that we've been discussing earlier. The city is also encouraging its staff to cancel discretionary, professional, and personal travel at this time. We recognize during this period of time that the coronavirus pandemic, there may be unforeseen financial circumstances that make it difficult for individuals to pay their utility bill in a timely fashion during to the surrounding circumstances of this virus. We believe that everyone needs access to hot water during this period of time. Therefore, I have directed staff, effective March 11, 2020, to implement a non-disconnect policy for late and non-payment of Anderson City utility bills. This is not a waiver or forgiveness of bills, and therefore bills should continue to be paid in a timely manner by those who are able to pay. The city will work with customers, if needed, on a payment plan to catch up missed payments once this crisis has subsided. If you have a property in which a meter is read by a meter reader being required to enter into your property, whether it's a residence or a commercial building, those meter readings will not be conducted personally, but rather will be done through estimates rather than actual readings. Our utility office will remain open at the present time, but we do again ask that you take all steps to pay your utilities whenever possible online or going through the drive-through window as may be possible. Again, we ask that you call first if you do need to come to the utility office to have personal discussions in order that we can make arrangements to meet with you personally rather than have you standing in line or waiting for long periods of time in the hallway. The city and police fire departments will continue to work to provide public safety to our citizens. Internal policies have been implemented by both police and fire departments to ensure the safety of first responders and the public during their efforts in serving you. Also, our CATS bus system, our system of public transportation, will continue to run at this time. We ask, however, that you only use the bus if it is absolutely necessary. Do not use the bus if you know yourself to be sick or you have symptoms, again, of the flu or respiratory illness or fever. If you use Nifty Lift, likewise, do not use this for social trips, but only use it when necessary for such as medical trips and so forth. Again, do not take Nifty Lift if you are sick. While CATS and Nifty Lift use on a regular regimen, they do use sanitizing on a regular basis. We have increased the sanitizing schedule for your safety, and these buses will be sanitized daily or more frequently if needed. The City of Anderson will continue to make updates about the protocols that we're following and keep you informed. Those updates may be found on the city's website, again at www.cityofanderson.com, or up on the city's Facebook page. I again ask all citizens to remain calm, but to take these matters seriously. Remember, we are all in this together, and by working together as a community, we will be successful in weathering this unexpected experience. Once it is ended, we will work together to overcome any remaining adverse effects. Thank you. God bless each of you and your families and our great city of Anderson.